Hold on, Falcons fans, something big might be brewing. A superstar is unhappy. The rumors are flying. And a wild chain reaction in the NFL just might bring one of the league's most feared defenders right into Atlanta's crosshairs. Could TJ Watt really be on the move? Let's break down what's real and what's complete madness. What is going on in the NFL right now? Every single day, it feels like something wild is happening, and now Falcons fans need to pay close attention. In just the last 2 days, we've seen jaw-dropping moves that no one saw coming. First, superstar cornerback Jalen Ramsey was traded from Miami to Pittsburgh, a massive deal that completely changed both teams' defenses overnight. And if that wasn't enough, just hours later, tight end Darren Waller came out of retirement and signed with the Miami Dolphins. Yeah, Waller, back in the league and chasing a ring. Now, if you're a Falcons fan, you're probably letting out a sigh of relief right now. That Waller move? It confirms that Kyle Pitts, our guy, isn't being shipped off to South Beach. But here's the bigger message. The NFL has officially entered chaos mode. And it doesn't matter that it's July. Teams are making blockbuster moves. Agents are working phones. GMs are getting bold. So if a couple of shocking deals already happened, could there be one more on the horizon? That's the question heating up online. And a lot of fans, especially Steelers fans, are starting to feel nervous. Because with Jalen Ramsey now in Pittsburgh and taking up a huge chunk of salary cap space, who's going to get squeezed out? All eyes are on TJ Watt, one of the most feared and respected pass rushers in the NFL. Let's be real, TJ Watt is a monster. He's a former Defensive Player of the Year, a constant Pro Bowl threat, and the kind of guy who wrecks entire game plans by himself. But here's the problem, he's getting close to the end of his current deal. And right now, believe it or not, he's not one of the highest paid pass rushers in football. He sees what guys like Myles Garrett just got paid. He wants a big-time extension too, something that shows his value and keeps him among the elite. And who could blame him? But here's where things get spicy. Adam Schefter, yes, that's Schefter, the top NFL insider, dropped a tweet that got everybody talking. Let me break it down for you. According to Schefter, multiple teams have already started talking behind the scenes about whether they could trade for TJ Watt. This comes right after Watt skipped the Steelers' minicamp, a clear sign that something isn't right. Now, the Steelers haven't said they're ready to trade him. Not yet. But insiders believe that interest from other teams is growing fast, especially after the Ramsey trade. Let's pause here for a second, because to really understand this, you need to know how the NFL works behind closed doors. This is the game inside the game where agents, reporters, and teams all play their own parts. Here's how it works. Agents quietly give info to reporters to create headlines. In return, those reporters, like Schefter, will break big news for them down the line. It's a give and take, a trade of information. So when you see the words "sources say" in a tweet, you have to ask yourself, where did that source come from? Do you think the Steelers are the ones leaking this news? No way. That wouldn't help them. More likely, it's coming from Watt's camp, his agent, trying to send a message. Pay my guy, or teams will come calling. This is how pressure gets built in the NFL. One tweet, one skipped practice. And suddenly, the whole league is watching. So Falcons fans, here's the big question. If TJ Watt is actually available, should Atlanta go all in? Let me know your take in the comments below. Would you want to see the Falcons trade for a superstar pass rusher like Watt, even if it means giving up big pieces? Or should we trust the young talent we already have? Drop your thoughts in the comments and rate your confidence in the Falcons' defense right now, 1 to 10. Let's hear it from the real fans. So, why would the Steelers, a team that has built its entire defense around TJ Watt, want the world to think he might be available for a trade? Why would they risk upsetting fans or rocking the locker room? The answer is simple. They didn't. This whole thing, this sudden surge of TJ Watt trade talk, it's not coming from Pittsburgh. It's coming from Watt's camp, more specifically, his agent. And they're playing the NFL media game like seasoned pros. They're using Adam Schefter, one of the biggest voices in the league, to send a very loud message to the Steelers front office. A message that says, "We're not happy. We want a new contract. And other teams want our guy." Let's take a second look at that Schefter tweet, now that we know what's really going on. In recent weeks, multiple teams have been discussing whether they can trade for Steelers standout TJ Watt, who skipped the team's most recent minicamp. Pittsburgh hasn't shown any willingness to deal so far, but he's unhappy with his contract, and sources believe outside interest is likely to increase. That's not just a tweet, that's a strategic warning shot. It's no coincidence that this dropped right after the Steelers pulled off that massive trade for Jalen Ramsey, taking on a big contract that eats up valuable salary cap space. Watt's agent sees what just happened, and he's not happy. He knows that signing Ramsey might make it even harder for the Steelers to afford a massive new deal for Watt. So what does he do? He flips the script. He fires back. By leaking to Schefter that other teams are interested, he stirs up a storm. Suddenly, GMs all over the league are asking themselves, wait, is TJ Watt actually available? Even if that interest is just smoke, maybe even totally made up, it works. Because it creates pressure, it creates panic, it creates urgency. And that brings us to the Atlanta Falcons. Imagine being Terry Fontenot, Falcons GM, sipping your coffee, scrolling your phone. And then you see that tweet. You pause. You think, wait, what? TJ Watt? I didn't know he was even on the table. Even if you weren't planning to make a move, that tweet alone might be enough to make you pick up the phone and call Pittsburgh. Now, to be fair, Fontenot is smart. He's not going to let one tweet drive a franchise-altering trade. But news like this, it plants seeds. It starts conversations. And that's exactly what Watt's agent wants. But here's the truth. As amazing as TJ Watt is, and make no mistake, he's still one of the best defenders in football, this kind of trade just doesn't fit with where the Falcons are right now. Let's not forget, Atlanta just used their first-round picks to draft James Pierce Jr. and Jalon Walker, two young, explosive edge rushers. These are guys the Falcons are hoping will become stars. They're the future. Bringing in TJ Watt, who would demand big money and big playing time, could stunt the growth of these two rookies. It could block their development. And after investing that kind of draft capital, that's a huge risk. And there's another issue. The Falcons don't even have a first-round pick next year. That means they don't have the kind of high-value asset that Pittsburgh would almost certainly demand in return. The trade just doesn't make sense right now, even if the fit is tempting. So where does that leave us? The Falcons are in a weird but promising place. They have two young edge rushers with massive upside. TJ Watt is still a beast, but trading for him, at this moment, just doesn't align with the Falcons' long-term plan. Could things change? Sure. This is the NFL. Anything can happen. But right now, the Falcons look locked in on their youth movement. They made a bet on Pierce and Walker, and now they're going to ride it out. But what do you think, Falcons fans? Would you roll the dice for TJ Watt if the price was right, or are you all in on the young guns? Let me know in the comments. Drop your take. Are you riding with the future or chasing the now? Let's be real, it's tempting. The idea of adding TJ Watt to the Atlanta Falcons defense. That sounds like an instant cheat code. We're talking about a former Defensive Player of the Year, a man who can single-handedly change the outcome of a game, who demands double teams on every snap and still gets to the quarterback. That's not just rare, it's elite. So, on the surface, it seems simple. Forget the rookies. Bring in the proven superstar. Win now. But slow down, because it's not that easy. The Falcons just spent big-time draft picks on James Pierce Jr. and Jalon Walker. These are not late-round flyers. They're high investments. The team clearly believes in them. They want to build around youth, speed, and long-term potential. And you know what? That makes sense. Because James Pierce, he was taken not much later in the draft than TJ Watt was when he came out. And Walker? He's already turning heads at camp. Both guys are young, healthy, and cheap, locked into rookie contracts that give the Falcons flexibility to build around them. So here's the real debate. Do you bet on potential or do you cash in now for certainty? Do you give your young guys the chance to prove they can be the next great Falcons pass rushers? Or do you go all in for a 29-year-old star who, yes, is still dominant, but has dealt with injuries and may not have 5 elite years left? If you're thinking long-term, if you believe in building a lasting contender, then sticking with Pierce and Walker might be the smart move. Let them grow. Let them develop. Let them become your next TJ Watt without spending $100 plus million or giving up major draft capital. But what if it's not just about smart moves anymore? What if Falcons GM Terry Fontenot feels the pressure rising? What if he knows that just making the playoffs won't be enough to save his job? That going 9-8, barely winning the NFC South, and getting bounced in the first round might not cut it? If that's how Fontenot is thinking, then all logic might go out the window. Because desperate times call for bold decisions. And maybe, just maybe, he picks up the phone. Maybe he calls Pittsburgh. Maybe he says, "Look, we'll give you James Pierce. We'll throw in picks. Let's get TJ Watt in Atlanta. Let's go win right now." That's the kind of move that changes everything. It's risky. It's dramatic. It might even be reckless. But sometimes, when your job's on the line, you swing for the fences. Would it be worth it? Well, Pierce could be a future star. Or he could be another bust, like Tack McKinley or Vic Beasley, guys who showed flashes and then faded fast. TJ Watt? He's not a mystery. He's not a maybe. He's a force of nature. But he comes with a price in dollars and in draft picks. So now we ask you, Falcons fans, do you gamble on potential or go all in for greatness? Would you trade James Pierce and picks for TJ Watt? Drop your take in the comments. Who are you riding with, the future or the proven warrior?